Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. Stonehenge is the latest victim of the eco-terrorist known as Just Stop Oil. The attack came on the eve of celebrations for the summer solstice. 5,000 years of history, and this is how it gets treated by some they-them university students.
My name's Neve, I'm 21 and I'm a student at the University of Oxford. Today I'm taking action with Just Stop Oil to demand that the UK government commits to signing the Fossil Fuel Non-Proliferation Treaty and promises to stop burning fossil fuels by 2030. To refuse to do so is to warrant death, destruction and suffering on an absolutely immense and immeasurable scale. Today we'll be taking action at Stonehenge the day before the solstice. For thousands of years people have come to Stonehenge on the solstice to celebrate our natural world, to celebrate the beauty of our natural world. But I can't help thinking, what does it look like today and what the heck have we done to it? These stones have stood here for 5,000 years. What will the world look like in 5,000 years' time? What will our legacy be? It's becoming ever more clear that we end the fossil fuel era, or the fossil fuel era ends us.
And yes, Neem was later arrested for that attack on Stonehenge, but I'm convinced these wide-eyed zealots don't spend much time out in the nature they claim to love so much. How else could anyone make the argument, look at the world today, what have we done to it? Well, unless they're talking about the pollution in India, but they ain't doing this to the Taj Mahal, so let's look at the state of nature in the West. Have you taken a hike recently, gone to Glacier National Park in Montana, where they told us the glaciers will have melted by the year 2020? But instead, those signs, which had been put up over a decade ago, had to be taken down as yet another victim of the climate cult's failed predictions. It's just par for the course these days, with historical works of art, including by Van Gogh and Leonardo da Vinci, likewise attacked with soup, paint, and glue by these activists. The Substack writer, who goes by the name Bennett's Phylactery, made the important observation that this is state action because every Western government is at war with its historic population. That is why certain historical monuments or pieces of art get attacked and others don't. Just Stop Oil used to say that they were attacking oil paintings to make their point about demanding Western governments completely end their reliance on fossil fuels, of course including oil. But when it comes to attacks on Stonehenge, that weak argument becomes even more strained. This was built long before any humans were using gas and oil like we do today. And after so many thousands of years, there's an entire ecosystem of vegetation and tiny critters which inhabit the rocks. So why destroy their home in the name of saving the planet? Unless the real goal is to destroy European and Western heritage. This understanding also allows us to better come to terms with who exactly is funding Just Stop Oil. The Guardian reported back in the day, quote, "These striking protests are even more remarkable in that they have been funded in part by an oil heiress, Eileen Getty, a philanthropist whose grandfather was the tycoon J. Paul Getty, co-founded the Climate Emergency Fund and has gifted it $1 million to be used by activists." Among thousands of other smaller donors to the fund, several other prominent figures have made major contributions. Abigail Disney, scion of the Disney family, has given $200,000. And Adam McKay, director of the darkly satirical climate film Don't Look Up, has pledged $4 million, end quote. Joining us now to discuss is Oren McIntyre, a columnist for Blaze Media and the host of the Oren McIntyre Show podcast. Oren, thanks for being back tonight.
Thanks for having me.
Great. So do you believe that a lot of these attacks have more to do with the replacement we've been seeing of native populations in the West and of our heritage and culture than necessarily with the climate per se?
Oh, yeah, Bennett is absolutely right. Notice the targets that they always pick, right? It's always history tied to the native peoples of any given Western or European country. It's never anything that is sacred to the new regime. You'll notice that we never have any of these attacks on ugly modern art installations. We never have any of the attacks on civil rights monuments. We never have these attacks on Holocaust museums. All of these things are carefully selected to attack the same enemies that the current ruling class see in their midst, in their countries.
No, that's so true because, for example, the George Floyd monuments that have been put up, the statues, if they really wanted to grab people's attention and make everybody talk about their latest antics, well, I think that would be a perfect place to strike. And they could make sure it's soup or it's some other thing that could be washed off easily. But of course, they would never dare do so.